Listen, sorry, I'm inhabiting the gay pussy eater right now. I'll go back to Brace. We're back after Thanksgiving. Pranksgiving.
Oh, are we going? Is this thing on?
Yeah, we're going.
Are we rolling?
What did you do for prank? What was your biggest prank?
I didn't prank anyone.
What?
No.
Why?
Because I made a turkey.
Oh, tell me about it.
About my turkey? It was. Yeah. I made way too much food.
Well, yeah. I mean, who doesn't? It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah. What about you? What did you do?
Well, I did this really good trick where I went to a Friendsgiving. I was like, oh, no, don't worry. I got tested. I was like, yeah, me too. And then, of course, I don't get tested. That shit's, I'm not putting that in my nose. Man, who knows what that's been? So I went to the Pranksgiving, and I was like, oh, yeah, I found out I did a 23andMe for my birthday, and I found out I'm French. And so I started kissing everybody on the mouth and shit. Just like totally pranking them by pretending to be French.
Yeah. Classic prank.
Oh yeah, I spit in the sweet potatoes. I'm always, that's my party trick. And everyone got COVID. 2 of them are dead. But all good.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein.
Hello, Brace.
Hey, sorry.
Sorry for what?
I'm just everything.
Oh
shame. I'm in a shame spiral.
No, stop it.
Okay,
we're back.
We're back podcasting.
We always do that work because it feels like to us like we've taken a really long break, but then for people listening, they're like, what are you talking about? It's been like 4 days.
And we unlocked an episode, so like most people probably didn't even notice.
Well, we're here to remind you that we infected podcast for a week.
Mm-hmm. I was busy delivering turkeys to old folks' homes in places with zero COVID restrictions.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Turns out they liked a close hug. I hated it. When I used to have to go sing carol when I was in the Boy Scouts briefly, or the Cub Scouts. I used to have to go sing carols at old folks' homes. Scared the shit out of me.
No.
You don't start to appreciate old people until you turn like 15. You're like, oh, yes.
That's true. That's very true.
They're scary when you're little.
When you're tiny, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, this one was from World War II veterans.
Unless they're your grandpa, and then they're okay.
Yeah. But this was in Hamburg, Germany. It's awful. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Liz.
Hey, my name is Lou Dog, the dog from Sublime, the band. I don't a.k.a. Brace Belden, coming at you. We also have here with us on the ones and twos, which is an instrument that I thought was in Sublime, but now that I'm saying this sentence, I don't think was, Young Chomsky, and the podcast is called TrueAnon, all about Lou Dog, the dog from Sublime.
Dude, remember Lou Dobbs? Is he still going?
Yeah, Lou Dobbs, remember, he's just like a current guy.
He's still on?
Yeah, he's still on. He seems to like, I think he's had like a stroke every 15 minutes maybe.
Yeah,
he's not like the most
just like
coherent
Mr.
guy.
Stroke.
Those dudes are over though. Those guys are, Trump is like.
Trump took their bit.
Well, not only did Trump take their bit, but like Trump is now just like, fuck Fox. I'm doing OAN and Newsmax. It's been nice to see Newsmax come up.
Do I have Newsmax? Like if I don't have cable. Wait, I have internet cable, so I don't have Newsmax?
I think internet cable just means you have the internet.
No, I have like, you know how I have it through Hulu where I have like live TV or whatever.
Oh, I have no idea. I that's like seems like a sports thing. And,
that's why I have it.
Actually. I read Chaucer every Sunday. I read the Canterbury Tales every Sunday. I don't watch.
This is the guy in your MFA class, ladies.
I'm in your MFA. I'm asking for your number every single fucking day. Once you give it to me, I'm sending you weird fucking texts. You're gonna be like, "Why are you doing this?" And I'll be like, "I'm the guy from your MFA. Don't you remember me?"
Here's the thing: if I was in an MFA program, I would date someone in the program.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with the guy from the MFA program?
I don't understand it. I'm just looking for
it's just a person.
A BBW, Brace's Beautiful Woman.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. My bad. Shouldn't have done that.
Maybe we should just get into the episode.
Let's do it. So, turns out, I just found out about this whole thing. Turns out there was this guy who was like a child molester who was really rich, who was going around doing that a lot of different places, and he was friends with like all these famous people, and then he died somehow, and now there's some lady involved, and I think she's in either jail or some sort of facility, and I guess we have this podcast.
Wait, what?
Yeah. No, he's a Jewish guy.
Oh, that makes sense. Just kidding.
Wow, rare olive branch from Liz to me right there on the anti-Semitism.
I know, I was doing my best brace bit. Yeah, today we are going back in our bag. We got to talk Epstein because we haven't checked in with some of these guys in a while. We did talk about some updates to the case last week, so okay, that's only half true. But there's a lot of characters in the extended Epstein universe, which is quite extended, that we haven't
Also
heard
the
from.
same universe as the cartoon Steven universe, which I found a little odd.
What is that?
It's like a cartoon that people who get really mad at the podcast seem to like.
Really? What is?
Yeah, I think it's like I honestly don't know.
I don't know
was
anything about cartoons.
Now that I felt
Why
like that
is
was like a
everyone
good
watching
joke to make there.
cartoons?
I don't know, man. Everyone is.
Just watch real people.
Well, don't watch that. Read Chaucer, the Canterbury Tales. It's really good.
Okay. So, we have a lot. So I want to get into this because we actually do have a lot of people to get to. A lot of characters that we haven't heard from in a while. So this is like a where are they now kind of special, right? Imagine us like it's 2008 and Bryce and I are
that's in the past, but okay.
hosting a VH1 show called Where Are They Now? This seems like a very VH1 kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this is where be like, do you remember you were in Def Leppard with this guy?
And it'll be like, and then Michael Ian Black will like come in and be like, say something stupid, and everyone will be like, God, he is so funny.
Julia Roberts is a reluctant streetwalker.
Work it, baby, work.
Richard Gere is a billionaire playboy.
This isn't a date, it's business.
The two meet, sparks fly, love flourishes, a hooer, no moor.
But then like 10 years later, everyone will be like, can't believe I thought he was funny.
Yeah, I'm so glad that guy's in prison now.
Is he? Wait. Oh,
he helped
that
kill.
book with...
He blew up the lady from the Panama Papers thing.
No.
Remember that lady got killed?
He did write a book with
Meghan
He's like
McCain.
a radical centrist now, isn't he?
Yeah. I guarantee he. I mean, speaking of BBWs, he definitely fucked Meghan McCain, and she is. I know. I think I mentioned
Is
this
that a
podcast
beautiful
before.
Brace woman?
Absolutely, Meghan McCain is.
Really?
Not like physically,
never seen
but
her
like
legs.
I haven't seen her legs either, and it's not like it's a spiritual attraction. You know how like sometimes I have.
I think that's like a domination thing.
There's this. Whoa. No, it's just.
Maybe
I
we
don't
should
know.
get that.
It's okay. Well, no, keep it in, Liz. That's how you think of me. Keep it in. I know that I'm wearing a dog collar and I'm surrounded by 7-foot tall women in heels.
No, I meant it
and
the
they are
other
all
way
connected.
around. I meant it the other
Me?
way around. Yeah.
No, man. I don't need to do that. Is it because of the gun thing? No.
I don't know, because she seems like an adversary.
She's not an adversary. We're all human beings, brother. Listen, this is a big ass. Let's just get into this. Jeffrey Epstein. So, anyways, Epstein, of course, died. August 10th, 2019. He hanged himself. Bam, snapped his neck. Anyways, we all know that, a lot of, mysteries and questions surrounding that, which we've dealt with on this podcast. We didn't really talk so much about where Epstein is now. So Epstein was claimed by his brother, Mark, which is a very, brother name. People's brothers
it's like
always...
such a brother that you've never heard of. Brother Mark.
Oh, yeah, no, this is my brother, Mark. I haven't told you about him before? One of those guys.
Absolutely.
Mark, we'll get to him a little later. He is guilty as about as guilty as anybody here. Anyways, everyone remembers 2 autopsies, one by the Department of Corrections, which was like, this guy was depressed and he killed himself. Another by Mr. Michael Baden, who has basically done an autopsy on every single famous corpse that you can remember, including some. I believe he was involved with losing a piece of JFK's brain as well.
He's old as shit.
Yeah, he's like 90. I think one of his assistants just got arrested for being a fake coroner.
Oh my god, yeah, I saw that.
I like briefly scanned the article to see if it had anything to do with this. It does not, but yeah, one of
had no medical license.
That's wild. So you can just because it's like that's not like the talented Mr. Ripley. You're just like, yeah, I'll cut this guy open. Oh yeah, he got shot.
You know, I have a thing. I feel like a lot of morticians unlicensed.
Why do you feel? I don't know. I don't
know. I just have a vibe. Like I have a vibe that like it's like kind of a thing that like weirdos like kind of like worm their way in and can get away with not being licensed.
My friend Andrea is a mortician now.
But she's legit and real.
Yeah. She went to school. What's the problem? Everyone knows what's in the body. A couple of muscles. I just think
no one's paying attention. You know what I mean? And so people can kind of get
checking the cards. Yeah, exactly. Well, anyways, Michael Baden cuts this motherfucker open. He's like, oh, bam, hyoid boy. I mean, I don't got to get into this. Everybody knows this. He says it could be murder. So I'm not talking about the hyoid bone. We already talked about the hyoid bone a million fucking times. I'm talking about what happened after all of this. Mark actually held a little funeral for Jeff Epstein at the Frank E. Campbell Funeral Chapel on Madison Avenue. Unfortunately, and this is actually a fucking shame that nobody had every funeral home in New York staked out in order to see who came. But apparently there was a small ceremony, which I'm very curious as to the guest list of, but it has not been leaked or even whispered at anywhere. And he was moved to a town called, check this out, let me try to do this, Loxahatchee, Florida, where he was interned in a grave which does not have a name on it, or excuse me, in like a not a grave, like a tomb, I guess, next to his parents, Seymour and Paula. Their names used to be on it. I believe everyone's name is removed now.
Really?
Yes.
I bet we can figure out which one it is.
And there's pictures of it, actually. Like, they actually are, like, they do know which one it is. It just doesn't have his name on it. We should, well, we'll talk about this after.
I don't know what we would do.
We could get his body.
Oh.
What are you talking about? What do you think we do?
I thought you just went to take some pictures. I was like, kind of boring pictures.
No, I don't fucking care about that. What is it, Johnny? I'm going to Johnny Ramone's grave. No, I want to get his body. What if we got his hyoid bone?
Well, it's broken. So you could have some and I could have some.
Wishbone! We could all have it.
That's nice.
Anyways, the thing that I found curious about this is Epstein's whole thing was like cryogenically freeze me, and bam.
Yeah,
unfrozen.
Didn't do it.
He's in Florida, one of the least freezing places in America.
Maybe they froze him and he melted.
Yeah, could be.
Global warming.
He's just in a little bit of a jar. Anyways, the Daily Mail was the people who did the really heavy hitting reporting on this, and by that I mean they sent a guy to the funeral to take to the graveyard to take a picture of a blank gravestone. And when contacted by the Daily Mail, Mark Epstein told them to fuck off, and so that appears to be the kind of comments we'll be getting from this loser gentleman.
Interesting. I kind of like that attitude. There's also, I mean, we haven't talked much about the lawsuit that Epstein's estate is involved in. I mean, okay, there's a lot, but there's one that the Attorney General for the U.S. Virgin Islands filed against Epstein's estate that's actually getting pretty interesting. It's a bit confusing, and we probably have to do an episode on it because it involves it's more about the financial angle of Epstein's like empire, aka like how he was moving money around. We've talked on the episode about all the kind of offshore companies that he was establishing and his ties to like Bear Stearns and Goldman Sachs, and a lot of that being in the Panama, or not the Panama Papers, but the what was the other one?
Paradise Papers.
Thank you. The Paradise Papers. But so AG for the U.S. Virgin Islands, Denise George, great name. Like I've always said, there's a lot of great names in this whole universe.
Ensemble.
Denise George brought the case against the Epstein estate actually back in January, and the claim is that the estate itself is an ongoing criminal enterprise. So they're suing the estate on civil racketeering grounds, which is really interesting. And they're claiming that Epstein's lawyer, Darren K. Indike, another great name, and the accountant Richard Kahn
Classic. We love Khan.
are co-conspirators in the racketeering operation. And so Denise asked the U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska. Now, that name may be familiar to longtime listeners of the podcast because this is the judge in the Virginia Jeffrey Maxwell civil case. So Denise asked that judge to grant the U.S. territory intervenor status, which would allow them access to a bunch of the materials that are still under seal in the U.S. District of Southern, or the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York in the Maxwell Jeffrey case, right? So basically, the U.S. Virgin Islands is trying to get sealed documents from the Maxwell Jeffrey case, and like all of the like people that were deposed, the people that the state called, all that for their on the grounds for their civil racketeering case. And it looks like that actually might happen. Preska ruled that no later than December 10th, Jeffrey's attorneys must provide to the U.S. Virgin Islands under seal a copy of Epstein himself's deposition in the Jeffrey Maxwell lawsuit and all the exhibits that are attached to it. So it's getting pretty interesting. I don't know if we're ever going to see any of this, but I think the financial angle has always been probably one of the strongest angles against Epstein.
Absolutely. Well, and this case has kind of been popping up all over while I was doing research for this my parts of this episode. There are some subpoenas being issued, like to Glenn Dubin's kids and stuff like that. And so one thing that actually has gone pretty underreported, I think probably because there's probably not a lot of reporters who know this very well, but the Virgin Islands sort of like bureaucracy and government actually had a lot of ties to Epstein. And Virgin Islands are much smaller fry than anybody else basically he dealt with. But it turns out, like, I think the wife of the former governor of the Virgin Islands was employed by him. He spread his money all over there because it probably went pretty far there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we should also, while we're talking about Epstein, we should check in with Ghislaine. So the last time we checked in with Ghislaine, there were she was not too happy. She was locked up in the clink. Mm-hmm. And guess what? She's still there. She's still hanging out there.
She's getting hosed down in the Hooskow.
Yeah, the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center in NYC. Mm-hmm. Basically, a week ago, a staff member at the jail tested positive for COVID, and now she's been placed on mandatory 14-day quarantine again. So when she was first moved into the jail, she was placed on quarantine. Uh-huh. Then she's been put in isolation after that. The attorneys asked to get her into the general population. Denied.
I would not ask for that, though.
Well, that's what she wanted. I think because it gave her, like, more freedom. But now she's back from isolation into quarantine. Now, what do you think the difference is? I had to look this up because I was like, what the fuck is the difference between isolation and quarantine? Like, literally, I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know, because I've been in quarantine and isolation, it feels like.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't seem like there would be much of a difference to me.
It turns out that isolation means she's permitted out of her cell from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Oh. But with quarantine, she, like, literally can't leave. So she's, like, not doing that well in jail, apparently. She has lost 25 pounds, reportedly.
Pardon me?
And
say that again.
Yeah.
25 pounds? 25
pounds, reportedly, allegedly.
She's been in jail since July, 25 pounds?
You know what I say?
What?
Good for you.
I mean, that's the thing. Is everyone's talking about all this stuff they want to do during quarantine. I'm going to learn French. Like, I'm going to, lose 25 pounds in jail for pedophilia. And no one ever does it. And you know what? She did it.
Yeah, it's a productive quarantine, it sounds like. I gotta, everyone's been talking about getting their COVID bod. So, got to get it back because, the summer post-COVID is coming up, Bruce.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's going to be one of the horniest summers known to mankind.
Everyone's getting pregnant.
Everyone, yeah. Especially because of what I put in the water.
I'm serious, though. It's going to be like fucking... People don't understand. Next summer, It's going to be the wildest summer of your entire life.
There's going to be so many mass shootings.
It's going to be so mass shootings.
Absolutely. I
think people are just going to be like doing it in the streets.
Mass shootings?
Okay, back to Ghislaine. So, yes, she's lost 25 pounds. She apparently in jail, she's awakened every 15 minutes with a flashlight because prison personnel are fearful she may, Epstein didn't kill himself.
Wait, so I do know that is like a thing they check on you, but like 15 minutes that is kind of
every 15 minutes. That's can you imagine?
They should just have someone staying there with her.
Hey.
Yeah, like hey, sweetheart.
Hey,
you awake?
Sorry.
Can you
sorry
talk?
to wake you up.
I'm so sorry. I'm just getting water. Getting water. No, it's.
Are you okay? Oh, sorry. I don't want to wake you, but.
No, I've just been thinking. Can we talk? You're too tired. We'll talk in the morning.
Oh my god, that's so real. She also has no soap or toothbrushes.
Oh, well, what? That's probably like half of our male listeners. It's fun. They'll be like, what's the problem?
She's British. They don't use
gargle in the
anyway.
shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what I learned from this is that she's vegan.
Yes, I saw this too. And listeners, listen up. Brace and I have done a lot of research on this lady. We know a lot about this lady. We know things that we can't say on this podcast about this lady. Mm-hmm. I have never heard that she's vegan. I have never seen this in my entire life.
It's incredible. I'd like to read from a press release, if I may, Liz. From one of our sister organizations that we're on the NGO networks with. This is, give Ghislaine Maxwell her vegan meals, says PETA.
Oh my God.
Maxwell should receive non-violent, flesh-free meals, and so should all other inmates. Following reports that the prison isn't feeding vegan Ghislaine Maxwell plant-based food, PETA sent a letter this morning to Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn, Warden Derek Edge, offering... I said that weird.
Derek Edge?
Warden Derek Edge, offering its help and experience in working with... It's insane. Working with other prisons to serve meat and dairy. What prisons are working with PETA to give vegan meals?
That sounds like prison to me, I'm not going to lie.
Listen to the rest of this, which would not only be the humane thing to do, but also save the prison costs, reduce violence, and benefit all inmates. Regardless of how anyone feels about Miss Maxwell, no one should be forced to eat the corpse of an animal who felt pain and fear and didn't want to die, said PETA President Ingrid Newkirk. PETA will gladly help the MDC make the switch to greens and beans, a healthy, humane, and cost-effective option that holds the key to reducing violence in the prison population and throughout any community. You heard that right. Veganism, I guess, will stop violence in prison.
Yeah, apparently she was given a traditional American Thanksgiving dinner, which she was very upset about. Now, it's unclear if this is how she lost 25 pounds, just like not eating whatever she's being given, or if she's like trying to get her bod back. But she's also not allowed to have a bra. So
why?
I think because it's like because you can pull the wire out and use that to like either escape, which would be very cool, or probably like you could like slit your wrists. Maybe
what about those
it.
bras that women wear with backless gowns? Couldn't she get one of those?
Like the sticky things?
Yeah, couldn't she get like a stickies?
I think,
stickies?
Yeah, I don't know anything. I just wouldn't wear a bra.
Yeah. No, totally. I don't think any women listeners should.
But she just, I have to say, she sounds miserable. This like braless, skinny,
so sleepy. Just hasn't eaten it. Just like someone's like flashing a flashlight in her face. Awful. My God, can you imagine?
Hasn't
just
showered.
Oh, I can't check my emails. Oh, George.
Yeah.
Plimpton.
So she's not doing very well. There was some new information that actually came out about Ghislaine that we should say, because I did find this interesting. There was a deposition that was unsealed from Epstein's former house manager, John Alessi.
Oh, we've heard from him before.
Yeah, another great name. Apparently Ghislaine was an avid photographer, according to him, which I really enjoyed as a detail. He said quote, she had this high-tech camera. She was constantly taking photographs. Not only photographs, but I think she had this special camera. I don't know what it was. What the fuck is a special camera?
I don't know, but I can't remember what this was from exactly, but there's testimony from one of the girls that she was brought to Epstein's house, and the person who brought them there was Ghislaine, and Epstein made a big show of giving Ghislaine this like digital camera while she was there. So that would make sense.
I mean, can you imagine, too? It's like the mid 2000s, like digital cameras, like a real big deal.
Yeah, well,
It's like
I mean,
one of those
so
little
they
tiny
had
things.
Well, their whole thing was they had pictures of all these girls, and some of them they like printed out or whatever, had developed and put on the walls. But there was also like folders and folders and folders and folders of this stuff on computers, and of course, those computers, as we mentioned last episode, disappeared before they were able to be seized and searched.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna ever see those again.
So now back to Mark Epstein. We talked about Jeff's little brother who buried him recently. Now, Mark Epstein is mostly in the news for his relationship, not recently, but his most of his dalliances with the spotlight have been with his relationship to the school Cooper Union. Now, Liz, you're a woman. What is Cooper Union?
Well, it's an art school, but it's not just an art school. It's also an engineering school, I think.
Social engineering?
No. But it's really difficult to get into. It's famously free.
Okay.
Or it was, at least until recently.
Okay, they're
maybe?
doing
I
a
haven't
little
checked
Bernie
in.
Sanders thing?
Yeah, it's totally free, but it's like very difficult to get into.
Well, that's actually what Mark's big relationship with it was, because he was on the board of Cooper Union. He led the charge to no longer make it free.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, shit, I didn't know any of this.
It didn't succeed, but yeah, that was like his big thing. I think he quit in protest because they refused to make it not free anymore.
Dude, that's the lamest thing to protest.
Yeah.
God, that sucks.
I know. What I gotta say, yeah, it's not the most dignified thing to do. But he's rich as shit too. He was a screen printing guy back in the 70s and 80s with a company called Izmo, IZMO, which is like the most like screen print ass name for a company I've ever heard. And then, of course, he got into real estate. His company was called OSSA, O-S-S-A. Oftentimes, he worked alongside his brother. In fact, I know we have mentioned this on episodes before. He was the partial owner of that building on East 66th Street, the giant rape house where child sex slaves and foreign dignitaries were often seen together. OSA is a big stakeholder in the building. He also, anyways, Elon Musk's brother also dated a girl that was living in the building. Very weird building, dark energy there. Anyways, he's basically one of the guys that's in charge of Epstein's money now. It's a little unclear on, of course, all of Epstein's finances, extremely opaque. It's unclear on how much Mark is getting or like where exactly that money is all going to. But it looks like he was one of the main beneficiaries from Epstein's will. Anyways, it's something we never really talked about was Mark's connection to something called the Humpty Dumpty Institute. Now, Liz, sweetheart, so if I was to come to you and be like, Liz, we are going to take a tour of the offices of the Humpty Dumpty Institute, what would you think that they do?
To be honest, like, no joke, the first thing I thought of was, you know that Eggman on Twitter?
There's an Eggman I'm thinking of, but it's probably not the same one.
He's like
it's like a dick guy thing, like a penis thing.
No, he's got like a big egg head, and he's like really into Israel.
Eli Lake?
Eli Lake is who you're talking about?
Yeah, that's literally what
I thought this was like a
immediately thought about.
developmentally challenged guy or something. You're
No,
talking about
isn't
Eli
he?
Lake, the rapping the rapping Zionist.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's
He
like a
looks like
foundation to
Humpty
like get him
Dumpty.
some pussy?
I don't know. He just looks like Humpty Dumpty.
He does look like Humpty Dumpty.
And
No.
Israel does want to build a wall, so
Yeah, that's true. I got to be honest with you, not really familiar with the whole story of Humpty Dumpty. I know he falls, and I know
don't think
everyone's
it's a
like,
very
oh,
long
we got to
story.
get this guy back. It's not, right? I mean, because it's like Rapunzel's longer than you'd think. But like Humpty
Certainly her
Dumpty, it's
hair.
just it's a one act thing. He just
I
falls
think he
and that's
just
it.
falls.
What's the lesson?
I don't know. Don't put an egg on a wall shelf? I don't know.
Fair enough. Well, anyways, the Humpty Dumpty Institute is a sort of like one of these dime a dozen fucking institutes started by rich people and staffed entirely by lunatics. This one is mid-level rich people. I looked at the board. It's like the sons of generals from like North African countries, Chinese gaming company owners, and policy advisors like on Capitol Hill. There's a bunch of congressional advisors on board too, mostly Democrats, although I think there's like 4 or 5 Republicans. The big names are Little Adam Shit, Maxine
this
Waters,
guy.
and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Is she
Oh my
even still
God.
elected? Whatever happened to her?
trio. That is like that's a trifecta right there.
I'll tell you, if my country was racked by civil war, I would want Debbie Wasserman Schultz by my side to help me rebuild. Because that's what this is about. This is the HDI, as they call it, which I guess is a more dignified name than the Humpty Dumpty Institute. This is from their website. HDI engages critical stakeholders through its programs with the U.S. Congress and the United Nations, including organizing visits of congressional delegations overseas and to the UN, and through its engagement with business and cultural leaders around the world. So who knows
I
what the
don't
fuck they
literally
do.
that means nothing.
Well, Mark Epstein is vice chairman. I mean, they say that further on they say that they support the removal of landmines and unexploded bombs in Sri Lanka, distribution of footwear to vulnerable communities in Vietnam, and support for mobile medical vehicles in Lesotho. I'm sure they're just smuggling diamonds.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways, Mark Epstein is a vice chairman of the Humpty Dumpty Institute, and he's gone with the group abroad a bunch of times, accompanied members of Congress and the UN on trips with the group. Daily Caller, of all places, well, actually, it's not really surprising because there's Democrats on the board. They actually did like a decently thorough expose of this that they didn't really find much. It's just one of those fucking gross places. Although I got some stuff I'll share with you in a second. In 2015, the one thing I did learn from that Daily Caller article, though, was in 2015, he did host a private dinner party for the Humpty Dumpty Institute with a keynote speech from Samantha Powers.
Ooh, friend of the pod, fave of the pod. Did Biden hire her yet, or is she still waiting in the wings?
He hired her as Secretary of Pimpin'. Because ladies
she's
is
gonna
pimps
be
too.
Yeah, and continuing human trafficking all through the world, while destabilizing nations everywhere.
Well, anyways, Humpty Dumpty Institute was founded by a woman named Constance Milstein in 1990. That's like the kind of name of a person your grandpa married in like New York in 1930.
Yeah, that's like the wife of someone who made a lot of money on the Holocaust.
Well, her dad actually made a lot of money setting up flooring at the United Nations, essentially. Like, he's the guy that if you are a globalist in New York, you get this guy to do your floors. I mean, he's doing JFK, he's doing LaGuardia, but he actually hit it big when he acquired a little company called United Brands, aka United Fruit Company.
Oh my god. So I was close. I was real close.
Yeah. He actually did help, well, at least he has a connection to, well, what you could call them Holocaust. They certainly systematically killed a lot of people, and there was slavery. Well, anyways, for those who do not know, United Fruit Company, despite the name, actually, it was a fruit company, which makes this also absurd, but it was owned by a guy named Eli Black, formerly of Lehman Brothers, and we will get to his son in a second because he's connected to all this too. But United Fruit Company is basically the American version of the East Indies Company. It was all up in South and Central America and in Asia, and they had this sort of plantation system in basically any country that grew bananas or any kind of fruit, where it was essentially the same thing that you would see in any of these other like colonial countries, which is like overseers and slaves. And this slavery existed, until the 70s and 80s, and I'm still sure exists in some places. They're basically famous for conducting like low scale and sometimes high scale genocides in every country, essentially south of the U.S. They overthrew Jacobo Arbenz in Guatemala in 1954. That's the thing I think most people know about them, is they literally overthrew the president of that country who was trying to do land reform, which if you are a president in South America and you try to do land reform, I will say Asia too, someone is going to kill you. No disrespect. That's just the way the game goes. You will die. United Fruit was known as El Pulpo, which is the octopus. Anyways, Eli Black buys United Fruit Company. And Eli Black was a former investment banker with Lehman Brothers. You know, every single person we ever talk about on this podcast has for some reason worked for Lehman Brothers in the past.
Oops, wonder why that is.
I don't know why, but if I don't mention it, just assume that the person has previously worked for Lehman Brothers. Anyways, he buys that shit, tries to transform it, and it turns out he's one of those guys. You know how, like, Liz, before we started doing the podcast, you and I were involved in buying businesses that were doing bad, firing everybody, renaming the business, or breaking up into different parts and then profiting off of that?
Oh, yeah. When we worked at McKinsey.
Exactly. So that's what Eli Black did. But Eli Black wasn't as good at it as he thought, or at least he couldn't do it in a way that would make him enough money. And he also got caught doing a lot of bribery.
Oh.
So, yeah, it happens. The board was trying to push him out, and on February 3rd, 1975, he goes up to the 44th floor of his Midtown office building in Manhattan, breaks the fucking window with a briefcase, which I gotta say, gotta have a lot of books in there or something. Throws the briefcase out the window, and I'll get to that in a second, and then follows the briefcase with his body.
Oof.
Yes. Jumping out of a window of an office building is, I gotta say, I do not have respect for guys who work in most office buildings, but when they do that, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I would never do that.
Yeah,
Respect
real
to you,
Mad
man.
Men.
That's a very Mad Men thing. Did they do that at Mad Men?
Just the opening of the show.
Oh, I've never
With
seen
the,
that
you
show.
know, and it's the cartoon with the guy falling. It's like, do, 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 do.
No.
No?
They had the redhead lady on that show. With the
Yeah,
big
with the
boobies.
big,
Yeah, the knockers.
brains, the big brains.
Yes. But I never saw it. No. So anyways, this guy does the Mad Men thing. He jumps out the fucking window, gets a bunch of Emmys for it, and bam, splat on the ground. Anyways, I'd mentioned that he threw out his briefcase and a bunch of papers. They found a paper, I think a few blocks away, because, you know, it's a 44th floor, it travels, that said early retirement 55 written on it. And people didn't know if that was a suicide note or if that was maybe written by some of maybe the people who maybe mentally caused him to jump out. I don't know.
Or was there like a literal push, perhaps?
It's a
With
little
a Joker's
unclear.
card maybe thrown in the mix?
It could very well be. It's one of those things where you're like, I mean, even if no one pushed him, somebody spiritually pushed him. Well, anyways, he had a son. For some reason, his balls emitted sperm, and that sperm went into a egg, and then other stuff happened that I'm not really familiar with, and a baby was born. And that baby was named Leon, named after one of the characters from the video game Resident Evil, Leon Black. And Leon, yes, we've talked about him. Yes.
Before we get into this, I just want a disclaimer in case Leon Black is listening, because Leon Black is a serious dude. And so, Leon, if you're listening, we respect you.
Dude, honestly, like, I know, like, we come at things from different ways, but, like, you're a pimp.
Yeah, so everything we're about to say, man, don't take it personal. It's just
We're
for
just
the
saying
podcast.
Yeah, the
We're
losers
just little
love this shit.
jokers. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't
They eat it up.
come after us. Don't
They're
sue
like,
us.
oh, rich, bad finance guys. I'm like, honestly, like, finance is how things get made. So, not really
Yeah.
sure how you're okay.
Look,
then.
we're entrepreneurs.
I'm a small businessman, and I'm Jewish. Leon, we're good. Anyways, so Leon Black is a piece of shit. He was known. I mean, he owns everything from Chuck E. Cheese to fucking Blackwater. Like, this guy is, Business Week calls this motherfucker the most feared man in finance. And that's Business Week. They write about
Yeah.
business every single week.
This is literally yeah. I've always said Chuck E. Cheese was the Blackwater of family, you know,
Absolutely. Well, yeah, they did the massive.
family home restaurant. But I don't know. I messed
he's
up that
the-
joke.
He's the co-founder, chairman, and CEO. I call that the 3 C's of Apollo Investments. And Apollo Investments is the aforementioned vehicle which owns all that bullshit. I mean, you got to see it. They own fucking everything. And he's the chairman of Momo, which is like, I mean, I don't think that Leon Black is probably a particular interest in art, but that's like the crown you get when you're like a certain kind of rich guy.
That's also like, I mean, you want to talk serious fucking money, talk about art. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah. People,
I know it was like people were like, "Oh, get the Sackos out of here." I'm like, every single one of them. I don't understand. How much money does it cost to have a museum? You just put the painting on the wall.
Oh my god, no.
Look, I got.
Dude, also I have to say it too. Like I tweeted some stuff out because like a bunch of museums were fucking during COVID. Sorry, this is like a total side note, but I just want to say on this art thing, like a bunch of museums during COVID were like basically using the pandemic as cover to liquidate a bunch of art. Like basically, it's not liquidate. I can't remember what the term is, but they put up like public museums putting up art for private auction, which is a way for them to get money. And like, that's like a big no-no. And it's only like recently that they've kind of allowed that to occur with public museums because of, they're saying, oh, you've lost so much money because of COVID, people not going, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But all that is fucking fake. And I just want to say like, that art is publicly owned. Like it belongs in public museums. It is like it's the public's culture. It's the public's history. There's a reason why the public owns it. And people like Leon Black and these fucking private museums and these assholes, like asshole administrators in these fucking public museums are selling off all of this publicly owned history to fucking private asshole wealthy people.
Yeah,
and
some really famous
wrong.
paintings were like up for sale. I can't remember which they were,
It's
but like
so
they were
fucking
doing
wrong,
like,
and it makes me so mad. Yeah, and like
it's insane.
the people don't understand. I don't know. I like tweeted something about it, and people were like, "What's the big deal?" Blah 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 blah. And it's like, dude, like this is our art. This isn't theirs. This is ours.
That belongs in a museum.
Yeah, I mean, when I went, I have a piece of Starry Night that I took when I was in France. I just
I'm
scraped it off with a
serious.
penknife.
It
No,
belongs to
I agree. I
everyone.
agree. I mean, it's the my whole thing is museums. I've known a fair few people who've worked at the MoMA and SF, otherwise known as the SF MoMA. And I'll tell you what, it seems like a fuking cesspool. I mean, it's just a way for rich people to to swing their dicks around and do whatever they want.
The art world is so fucking awful. Okay,
It's
anyway,
so
sorry.
weird. Leon Black is all up in it. He met Epstein in the roaring 90s, which for these guys, is actually a pretty fair assessment of the decade. He made Jeffrey one of the first trustees. These guys, by the way, always making each other's trustees.
Everyone's
of
a
shit.
trustee.
What the fuck is a trustee?
You're my trustee, Brace.
You're my trustee too. I think we're in a trustee trio here.
That's nice.
Anyways, well, a lot of these high finance freakazoids sort of faded into the background after Epstein got arrested for having sex with children in 2007. Leon Black is actually like, you know what? That actually proves he's a pretty sharp businessman. He was only paying these girls $300 each. And so he got further entangled with Jeffrey Epstein. It's been long known that Black gave Epstein $10 million for Epstein's foundation. Epstein had a lot of foundations. Right. As far as we can tell, they did not do anything with their money. It looks like, that's actually part of the Virgin Islands case too, is that they think that the foundations basically facilitated him having sexual intercourse with children because that money was actually not used for charitable purposes. It was used essentially to further his empire, which I can see some truth to that. And Epstein also had a 6% stake in Black's company making emission control products that, in fact, Black's kids are also co-owners of the company. Black played down everything. This stuff came out. When Epstein was back in the news after he got arrested, all this stuff was out there. And, he sort of was like, oh, yeah, I don't even know. I'm so rich. I don't even know how that happened. Anyways, it later comes out because of Liz's former employer, Deutsche Bank, getting busted by regulators. And he'd actually given tens of millions, not 10 million, but possibly up to $75 million to Epstein for, quote, financial advisement over the past decade.
Incredible.
He said he was getting tax advice from Epstein.
Come on.
Yeah.
What does he know about taxes?
I mean, he doesn't seem to have paid a lot of them, but like, it's not like Epstein does his own taxes.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and like Naked Capitalism is a really good article of like what the fuck was he actually giving him money for. They do mention that Leon Black came out of Drexel and Drexel, which is an investment bank that used pretty girls to entrap and extort their clients.
Famously, yeah.
Former investment bank, and so could be something like that. I don't know, but
Interesting.
now Leon is looking like he might be getting subpoenaed by that Virgin Islands Attorney General,
Denise?
George. Old Denise is serving up Leon Black a little notice. Although who knows?
Damn.
How do you even get a subpoena to Leon Black?
Dude.
He
That'd
owns
be fucking
Blackwater.
nuts. Yeah, that would be really nuts to subpoena Leon Black. Like, I don't know if people really understand. This is like one of the most powerful men in the fucking world.
Yeah. Like, I don't think he's going to be handing over any documents anytime soon. I should mention another person with the last name Black. I believe it's Roy Black, Epstein's attorney we talked about in the last episode. It came to my attention over this past week that Roy Black's son, who looks like Barron Trump, is a member of the, allegedly a member of the Nazi group Atomwaffen, and his role in the group is running a Atomwaffen server on the children's video game Roblox, which appears to be a video game that is for children about Legos.
Dude, what?
I don't know. These people are sick,
Oh
sweetheart.
my god. How do people get into this stuff?
Roblox? I don't know. It's like Minecraft. Like, how do you start Minecraft?
I blame YouTube. I think it's all the YouTube.
I blame you too. So we can turn this around. I think it's both of your guys' fault. No, it's absolutely because of YouTube. Yeah, because YouTube, look, I mean, yeah, I should tell you, YouTube is a pernicious influence. Well, who do we got next, baby doll?
So I do think that we got to talk about our old buddy, Brandy Andy.
Hello, meat, bird, and chips. How about a kiss?
We haven't talked about him in a while because he's been in hiding.
Yeah.
Hasn't been showing his big fat face anywhere.
Is he at Balmoral, or did I just make that up?
No, actually, he was recently photographed at Windsor.
Okay.
Horse riding, which, I mean, okay.
That's a very princely
Yeah, he was
thing
at
to do.
Windsor Castle. I guess he's like in isolation there. You know, there's like the word that the royal family is like, they're like had a little press release and they're like, we will indeed have a Christmas with our isolation bubble. It's like, you're the fucking royal family. Who are you saying? You're already in isolation.
Well,
You're in
I
a
mean, I
fucking-
guess there's some of the few people with rooms big enough that you could just like sit in the same room and be like 30 feet away from each other.
Yeah, they have the crazy long table. They're always socially
It would
distant.
be so funny if the queen died of COVID.
That bitch is living forever. Nothing's gonna get her.
Oh, my throat hurts. Don't put the ventilator down me.
Oh my god. She would refuse a ventilator.
Good.
Anyway. Okay, speaking of Queen, so I guess that this is just a little funny thing about Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know that show The Crown on Netflix?
For some reason, like it's everywhere right now. I don't know, but I have not seen it. But it's about
I've
her,
never
right?
Seen it. Yeah, I've never seen it because I don't watch monarchist propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's like every season it's about Queen Elizabeth. And this season is set in like the late 70s, early 80s. And so it's like about...
During her time in swing in London.
No. I think it's about the rise of our friend of the pod, Maggie Thatcher. The old girl boss herself. But so apparently they quote, set up how to deal with the Andrew affair in... Like, this is a fictional show. It's like...
Oh, so this is like SVU style.
Yeah, everything. That's what's so weird. It's like, dude, you don't even have to mention anything. But, like, everything has to be ripped from the headlines now. I think this is a bad trend.
Liz, dude, I wonder if we could get an SVU episode about us.
About us? They did
Yeah.
an Epstein one.
No, well, forget that. Like about us.
Wait, but what would...
So it's so what happens in the episode? The
Okay, so I don't know because I haven't watched it because, again, I'm not going to watch this shit. But this was in Town and Country magazine.
So I got you that subscription last Christmas. You've been reading it.
So it's seen briefly during episode 4, dubbed Favorites, spelled with an O-U. The Crown writers explore the Queen's relationship with her 4 children, and just as royal historian Piers Brendan famously declared the Channel 5 documentary Paxman on the Queen's Children.
Come on, man. This is your country?
They conclude that Andrew is the Queen's favorite. Why? Well, because she sees Andrew as her chance to make up for her failings with Charles, apparently. Yeah, okay, well, I don't think that worked out well. Because he's a man of action, arriving at their private luncheon in full uniform and via a massive helicopter, because she takes him at his word when he declares his wish to fight in the Falklands.
Dude, come on, man.
Believing him to be her boldest, bravest child. And because they're both fond of poached salmon and nerdy jokes about their family's history. Like, what are you fucking joking about? Like, I want to hear some jokes about the fucking royal family.
I'll be honest
history.
with you. Probably pedophilia.
Yeah. And, like, killing a bunch of African people.
Mummy is a nonce.
Well, and yet the Queen comes away from her lunch with Andrew feeling oddly disquieted. And that's largely due to the Crown's portrayal of the teenage prince. So this is, like, super fucking weird. And so I have to just read the whole thing because it's so weird. I don't know why the writers included this. This is so weird to me. It's so stupid.
Dude, it's probably so fun to write for these shows.
Really? I think it sounds so,
imagine writing this dog shit. Unless you're listening to this, in which case, can you make a Crown episode
also,
about me and
email
Liz?
us because we'd love to talk to you. Okay.
I would love to be on the Crown.
Speaking excitedly about his new girlfriend, Andrew reveals to his mother that she's an American actor who specializes in making, quote, blue movies.
That means pornos, for those of you who aren't familiar with this kind of talk.
Her latest movie project, he explains, is, quote, set in the 1920s and follows an impressionable, nubile 17-year-old girl named Emily. 17? Interrupts the Queen, looking aghast. I'm not sure. I want to know more. Waving aside her concern. First of all, also, by the way, sorry, let's stop for a second. You're just talking about family history. They're a fucking royal family. Everyone used to get married at like 10.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Wasn't she literally like a child queen?
I mean, the whole thing is like you don't even get a chance to get married or like a choice really. Like you get married off when you're 12 essentially. I mean, dude, talk about fucking, they had a Habsburg who got married even though he was, well, I can't say it, we'd have to bleep it, but he was a guy who got a lot of the Habsburg genes in fucking Spain. His balls, the coroner said, his balls was just a black stone. And like they made this guy fuck a lady. I mean, I don't know how to say it. Maybe they'll stop have listening to. He was a really bad king, and he still fucked, and he was like fucking 13, I think. I can't really remember that good. I really just read the Wikipedia about it, but it's a crazy fucking Wikipedia article.
Also, I'm sorry, this is like the 70s, right? Early 80s? When was the Falklands War? I don't know. Literally no one knows because no one remembers that it even fucking happened, but okay. Do you think they really 17's like whatever.
Yeah, they didn't care back then.
17 is not 13.
Also, she's just an adult actress, but it's about a 17-year-old girl. So I'm like, I don't really know what the problem is.
Okay, anyway. Waving aside her concerns, Andrew continues. Don't be such a prude, mummy.
Yeah, there's your tell. We call it a tell in the business.
Anyway, there she meets several twisted and perverted older predators who seduce the vulnerable and helpless young Emily. Are you sure it's even legal? Asks his mother, face creased with concern. Who cares? Laughs Andrew. Ha 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 ha. This is so fucking stupid. I can't believe people watch this. And everyone's like, oh, the show is so good. Come on.
I'm not watching this. It's funny is now it's cleared up, but the entire time you were doing that, your picture became really fuzzy, and you kept you were pixelating out further and further. And that's because your spirit was diffusing and becoming one with the queens. I really like that. I love your queen impression, Liz. So it's anyway. Is
that's
he in the show further? I'm not gonna watch
I
that.
really think it's like just the one episode. Like they wrote him in for this episode to write in the like little nod to the fact that he is like, in this Epstein scandal. It's like so fucking weird, man. Just like do your dumbass fucking girl boss feminist rah hagiography of Maggie Thatcher and call it a day. Get this fucking propaganda off my screen. Death to the monarchy.
I will say this is that I wonder when the last time Charles and the Queen fucked.
Wait, that's her son.
Wait, who's her husband? No, Charles is her husband, dude.
No, dude, that's her son.
Fuck off. Fuck off. I'm Googling this. I
Dude,
hope
no,
Elizabeth
Charles
husband.
is married to Diana. He's married
Philip. Oh, yeah, it's Philip. Oh, wow, my voice came really loud in that. It's Philip.
Yeah.
My bad.
Philip
yeah.
also looks great.
Oh, he looks fantastic.
The Lich King.
It's from this really great D&D module. He came to life. It's all these
He
people.
looks like COVID ate his face but left his body.
He does look like a syphilitic. Yeah, that's absolutely.
He's got that beautiful British sheen.
Well, who else do we got? We got another piece of royalty here, and I believe you would call him Hollywood royalty. One of a frequent contributor to the show and a frequent guest on the podcast, Kevin Spacey. What is up with KS?
Oh my god. So I kind of when we were compiling like the characters to like look into and report on, and that we haven't heard from in a bit, I kind of like made a joke and I was like, oh, I'll look into Kevin Spacey and maybe there'll be like a funny little thing. So it's there's actually more. So do you remember like a couple months ago he was hit with a lawsuit in September? It was like September, I think, by Anthony Rapp, who of course was the kind of big main accuser of Spacey's. But I think it was like in 2017 when he went to BuzzFeed and there was the piece that came out, and that's the thing that like it was like literally like 24 hours later House of Cards was like, you're done. You're fired.
Get out of here. Yeah.
You're fired. Can we do those
No
jokes
longer
now
president.
again? Because
You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired. You're a pedophile. Bye-bye.
Anyway, okay. So Anthony Rapp and another anonymous man accused Spacey of assaulting them back in the 80s when they were 14. So
like
this
Kevin
includes
Spacey.
this includes new allegations that Spacey sexually assaulted a teenage boy whom he met at an acting class in Westchester in the early 1980s. And according to the lawsuit, Mr. Spacey invited his acting student to his apartment and, quote, engaged in sexual acts with him on multiple different occasions. I guess in the final encounter, allegedly, Spacey assaulted the teenager despite his resisting and saying no. So this is back in September, and apparently Spacey has fled to London.
He bounced.
Yeah, he fled the coop, and I guess this is like a little legal trick because this would allow him to delay his trial by like several months. Because get this, they haven't actually served him.
Oh, this is great.
So he's actually, I don't know, isn't there like a term for when you're on the run from a process server?
I think it's just called being on the run. For me, it was called the first part of my 8-month divorce.
Oh my god. No, I feel like there's like a character that's like someone that's running from the process server, but maybe not. Anyway.
Well, here's the thing is it's a great time to be on the run because it's COVID. Although actually it's bad because you'll always be home, but it's also like maybe the other guy can't get into the country. I would just try to get into the country with the craziest restrictions on who can come in because Kevin Spacey, I'm sure, could get into wherever.
Yeah.
And then just like hole up somewhere.
Yeah, he's in Vietnam.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Gary Glitter, I should add.
Anyway, so I guess that so they tried to serve him 4 times. I guess he has like a huge mansion in Baltimore, which it's kind of weird that he lives in Baltimore, but whatever. They tried to serve him 4 times. He was never there. So I guess that the way that the law works is that because they're trying to serve him internationally, there's actually like a 4-month window that they have to abide by in order for like the to happen
Really?
internationally. Yeah, and this is like per The Hague, which I thought was like a fun little detail.
Whoa.
So that's why he went to London. Isn't that interesting? So like yeah, he's got some good lawyers who I will get into. So they also there's all these funny little legal tricks they're doing. They also drafted a motion demanding the trial be moved from the New York Supreme Court in Manhattan to the federal court for the Southern District of New York because Spacey is not a New York resident. So that worked. And now he's demanding a jury trial.
Oh my God. These are the moves of a confident man. Well, maybe not the running thing, but I mean, this of a competent man, I should say.
I mean, yeah, he came out. Apparently, he still hasn't been served. Okay. But he issued a full, his lawyers issued a full denial of all the charges, and they responded to all of them, and they deny every single thing. And they want a jury trial. And can you imagine, so I know this isn't true, but when I read this in my head, it was oh, Kevin Spacey is representing himself in a jury trial. And it will be on television.
That would be incredible. Yeah. I mean, we should be so lucky.
We should. Can't you see him up there?
I will. I'm also now I'm scheming. I bet I could find Spacey in London.
Well, apparently he's at his house.
Oh, easy. If you're his lawyers, literally, I could easily get to his house.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because even if you serve him, you still have a form. I don't know. It's a legal thing.
I could just get in his house illegally, or I could just pretend to be in a motor accident and have somebody be like, "Sir, we need your help. We need your help." Bang on the door. And when he gets to the door, bammo, fucking stick the fucking piece in his face and be like, "You are served. Also, can I have your autograph on my gun?"
That's actually a pretty good move. You would be a good process server.
Yeah, I just bought a bunch of ski masks today.
Oh my God.
You can wear those when you process serve.
I don't
Anyways,
think
so he's in their sights. He's in the prosecutor's sights.
Yeah. But like I said, that he issued a full denial. And it's weird because basically in his denial, it totally conflicts with the first statement that he made when Anthony Rapp's first allegations came out, where he basically was, that's when he did the famous, "Oh my gosh, I don't remember meeting him, but if I did, I'm so sorry. I need to take this time. Also, I'm gay. This is difficult." Remember, he pivoted to coming out.
Oh, it was an amazing move.
Really
He's
good move.
"Yeah, it's crazy that I molested someone, but I'm also gay."
Yeah, that was very weird, but gotta hand it to him.
He's a Hollywood guy.
Yeah, very Hollywood. But yeah, basically he's he's saying that there's the statute of limitations. He's saying that he doesn't live in New York, so you can't even why are you even suing me here? It doesn't make sense. He's saying you can't have this guy hide by a pseudonym or be anonymous. That's not fair. So he's really going after it. I guess this was just a fun little detail that I found, which is that one of Spacey's lawyers actually represented someone in ISIS.
Okay. Do I know him? Oh, no, I don't know this guy.
Which I just was oh, wow, that's a big deal.
Oh, he's a Canadian ISIS guy.
Do you remember this guy?
I do not, but that's crazy. He got arrested for participating in an Iraqi based suicide bomb.
Yeah. He aided a bunch of terrorists, and he went away for 26 years.
Oh yeah, you can't do that.
You
can do that, but you got to get the U.S.'s explicit permission first.
Yeah, but imagine being yes, I represented ISIS and Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, well, it's what is it called? It's a diverse rainbow of clients. That sounded homophobic. I didn't mean it like that. Should we cut that? So, speaking of foreign or pedophiles hanging out in foreign countries avoiding prosecution, Jean-Luc Brunel, there is nothing basically in the English language press about him. But for those who are maybe more recent listeners, Jean-Luc Brunel was the quote-unquote model scout who in addition to his own long, illustrious career of drugging and raping women since the 1970s all over the world. But famously, there was a 60 Minutes episode literally about him raping, and he continued to work in the industry for like decades after that. He also had a modeling company with Epstein, MC2. I always say it wrong because I don't know how actually MC equals square or whatever works in the first place. I'm not a numbers guy. I always have to say that, not a numbers guy. Anyways, he is hiding out somewhere in Paris, and there is a case ongoing. Not sure about the movement on it. TrueAnon has a Jean-Luc Brunel correspondent who we may be talking to in the future about this. But apparently things are moving along there, and I guess a lot of the cases involve models. It is, I know this is a stereotype. It actually is kind of difficult to get cases like this to move along in France, and so we'll hope that, fingers crossed to see how this goes. But yeah, Brunel is in country, as they say. We've also got the Maxwell sisters, and there is zero news on them.
No one's following up with those babies. I don't know why I called them babies.
These babies. Well, Christine and Isabel, the whole Maxwell family, there are certain members that are basically gone unnamed, except just generally referred to as, family members of Ghislaine who are helping her in her court case. But there's like 8 Maxwell siblings, and so we're not exactly sure who it is. I would not be surprised if it was Christine and Isabel, her sort of most illustrious, famous sisters. But I would also not be surprised. They will. I have repeatedly sent them friend requests on every form of social media that they have. I have made fake profiles to try to get them to accept me as friends, where I look like a tech entrepreneur. And so far, zilch. But I'll never cease in my pursuit. And finally, rounding up this trio, we have Alan Dershowitz, and Dershowitz is doing great.
He's living the life.
My God, he's a colleague of ours.
I gotta say, the Trump years have been the best years of his life.
Dershowitz seems like he's on top of the world. Like, I've never heard somebody so positive and happy every time.
Incredible. Also, he's like kind of rebranded.
Well, he's become like a little bit of like a dissident intellectual.
Yeah. He's kind of like dabbling in like a, like a pinker, like a dangerous kind of like, like intellectual dark web. Ooh. Yeah. Maybe
but
I'm
like,
just gonna ask. I'm just asking some questions. I'm Alan Dershowitz. Just
intellectual using the dark web for what everyone else uses it for.
Yeah.
It's
intellectual.
Well, he also. The most. I'm sorry. We have to, young Chomsky. We're gonna have to play a clip right now.
You want controversy? I'm gonna give it to you. Should Donald Trump be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize? Should he get the Nobel Peace Prize? You're going to hear my arguments on this show today.
That's right. Alan Dershowitz has a podcast called The Dersh Show. And let me tell you, I have listened to 4 episodes of it, and it is fantastic. This guy is so much better at podcasting than me.
You're
better than him.
The music rocks.
It's incredible because
he's bad.
Presumably, there's maybe one, or definitely one, but probably more than one person working for Alan Dershowitz on his podcast. And someone was like, listen, we need morning drive time, like rock music behind when Alan Dershowitz speaks on his podcast. It's fantastic.
If you work for The Dersh Show, get in contact with us.
Liz, yesterday I fell asleep. I always sleep badly, and so sometimes at like 3:00 I get an attack of very heavy eyelids. And I was listening to Alan Dershowitz's episode with Dave Rubin.
Oh my God, you poor thing.
And I've never heard Dave Rubin talk before. It was not a pleasant experience. But I fell asleep. It was like it was like listening to Noy or something. It was like krautrock, and made me immediately just like tired and sort of like in a groove. He's got really great episode descriptions, including, should Iranian nuclear scientists be fair game for targeted assassination? Some say no, but I say yes. Find out when you listen to The Dersh Show. What do you think? Call 24/7 at 216-710-0050. That's not doxing. He puts it up himself.
What do you mean he says find out? He just said, I say yes. Now we know.
As far as I know, though, he doesn't really take callers on his show. Because granted, I've listened to his podcast. I don't know if I've made it the entire 45 minutes every time, but on the ones that I don't remember any callers. I have left something like 10 messages. And he refused to. He's a hard guy to get a hold of. But yeah, he's doing fantastic. Trump has been shouting him out a lot lately too.
Wow. I mean, he looks like shit.
Awful.
So he's got a face for podcasting. We'll just say
absolutely. Yeah, which is we don't though.
No.
I have a face for Instagram Live meltdowns. When I talk about betrayal in the makeup community. But yeah, so he is doing fantastic. I would encourage our listeners to check out his podcast. Little plug here. Maybe give him a call. Maybe call, but don't be mean to him, and just act like you're a regular person calling and say something psychotic that he has to respond to. Anyways, I hope to one day be a guest on the Der Show myself under my pseudonym, Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, we couldn't do this episode without checking in with our fave, our problematic fave, our girl. That's right, Ms. Hillary Clinton.
Whoa, Lizzie. It is. I don't mean to call you Lizzie. Sorry, it's fucked up. I never do that.
Cute.
I'm sorry. Okay, you all right? That you're good with it? Oh, well, I'll keep going.
Wait, I've told you how I used to give people Lizzie privileges.
Do I have Lizzie Privs?
Yeah. You got Lizzie Privs.
Do you call them Lizzie Privies?
No, I don't. I say Lizzie privileges.
I like that. Well, I got them now. So Lizzie,
That's weird.
Hillary Clinton is just like Dershowitz. She is glowing. She is looking so good.
Oof, she's everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean, I guess Trump allegedly, apparently, for the time being, has lost the election. We'll see what happens. But now, because of that, she's like just fucking making the rounds, because apparently this is all about her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. She went on Dax Shepard's podcast.
Oh that guy? Who's Dax Shepard?
I don't know who this is. So apparently,
is this a picture of him you put in the notes?
Yeah, I put a picture because he looks like such a fucking jackass.
Oh,
look
my
at that
God.
asshole.
Oh, horrible. Is it facial hair or is that just his face?
Unclear. Also, apparently he likes a newsboy cap, which I don't know.
Yeah. What is he in the international Marxist tendency?
He's stuck in 2006 when he made movies. This is from Wikipedia, by the way. Shepard is best known for his work in the feature films Without a Paddle, Zathura, A Space Adventure, and Employee of the Month.
Zathura,
I'm always
A Space
watching
Adventure
those
sounds
movies.
fake.
I've literally never heard of any of those.
Any of it? Do they have like the blue links that you can click on them, or like?
I don't know.
Zathura?
I guess that he is like one of the most popular podcasts.
What?
Yeah. Wait, will you look?
What's it called?
It's called Armchair Expert. Which,
Dude, come on, that's so
I know,
lame.
It sucks so bad.
Dax Shepard, American actor. Dax Shepard podcast. Monica. Wait, was Monica Lewinsky on it?
Was she?
No, Monica Padman. I don't know who the fuck that is.
Oh my god, oh my god, Brace, do you see the photo of the podcast? He's like, wow, Dax Shepard. Oh my God.
Dude, this is the most blue-pilled shit I've ever seen.
Oof.
Do you? Awful.
People also search for "What the fuck" with Mark Maron. Okay, and "Pod Save America."
My only experience with "What the fuck" with Mark Maron was when I was one of the worst weekends of my life. I've mentioned on the show before because it was really memorable when I was in LA trying to hide that I was withdrawing from heroin from my grief-filled girlfriend. And on the drive back to San Francisco, I was curled up in a ball, and we listened to Mark Maron interview the most wretched scum of the earth for like 4 hours. And then
It was the episode with Obama.
I literally, the first thing I did was relapse.
Oh my God.
No, this is
what the fuckers, what the fuckets.
Yeah,
Awful.
it was awful. What the fucketeers? What the
Awful.
fuck? That's I remember what the fucketeers like. Cause I'm like, man, you're like 45, brother. You're 45 years old.
Yeah.
Like, Go out, get, Louis C.K. or something. That would be better than this.
Yeah.
That would be an Aziz Ansari.
What happened to that guy? Did he get me too? Oh,
He got on Me
fake
Too.
Me Too.
That was a fake. That was like when Me Too itself. Like that's when people were like, well,
that was just like an essay that was like, oh my god, I had bad sex with him.
Yeah,
that was.
He put his
fucked up.
fingers in my mouth.
You know what was fucked up about that was it was just like, I'm just gonna fucking tell the world that Aziz Ansari is bad at sex.
Yeah, which like, of course he is, dude. You had sex with Aziz Ansari.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is, but I guess he's famous. It's a weekly...
he's the one who wrote that article.
What article?
About Aziz.
What?
I'm kidding. I'm just the joke's going on too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, this says each podcast features Shepard and Padman interviewing celebrities as well as journalists and academics about, quote, the messiness of being human. What the fuck does that
Young
mean?
Chomsky, can you hit me with the brace sound? Thank you.
Anyway, so this podcast rocks because they got Hillary
really
Clinton on, which, okay. He was on the show Punk'd. I forgot. That's how he got famous. Do you remember that show, Punk'd?
I do recall Punk'd. I actually really don't want to talk about that. You know what happened to me.
It's pathetic. Okay, so this is what.
Liz, actually, I want to rat Liz out here. Liz's notes for this, which are really long, by the way. One of the bullet points is just pathetic. That's one of the bullet points. That's all it says is just the word pathetic. No, go on, sweetheart. I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay, this is what Hillary says. One of the most difficult transitions I ever had to go through was unexpectedly not becoming president. Oh my god, me too, girl.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, sorry, I have to read that again because it's so funny. One of the most difficult transitions I ever had to go through was unexpectedly not becoming president because I thought I was. I thought I was on the path to being the president. Incredible sentence. This woman, oh my god.
This dude, I'm sure, Dax was probably like, no, like, yeah, that's crazy.
He's like, oh man, so relatable, totally. Wow, crazy. Let's take an ad break real quick.
Yeah.
I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to do to deal with a lot of the serious problems we face.
Dude, shut up. Like, you haven't been president for so long. Who fucking cares? Joe Biden won, and you lost.
Dude.
That's
also
pathetic.
I'm sorry, it's been 4 years. Like, girl, you gotta move on.
Oh my God. Like, your husband was president. I'm sorry, you both have to be president?
But
That's
also,
so funny.
It's just
that you
like
ran for
starting to
president.
look a little like desperado.
And but like, it's like, you should mention, yeah, it's like, what do you do now? Like, what's your day job?
Going on these fucking podcasts. By the way, if Hillary Clinton, if you're listening, you should come on the podcast. Would love to have you.
I would love to have you on the podcast. Sorry, I did jewel for that. I had to blow out the jewel for that. I would love to have you on the podcast. I would love to have you at my house.
This is what she says. She said, for at least 2 years, very intensely at first, and then beginning to taper off. Was she like on fucking drugs? Maybe. People would come up and throw their arms around me and sob on my shoulder.
Wait, you can put your hands on Hillary Clinton? Hold on. Okay, that is going in the building notes.
They would be there with tears streaming down their face. There were a lot of young women who came up and apologized to me because they said they didn't vote because they said they didn't think I needed them to vote.
No one said that to Hillary Clinton.
No one fucking said. No one's like, I'm so sorry I didn't vote. Bitch!
Like, if you're sobbing because of Hillary Clinton, you definitely voted for her.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you should be on a digital Bill Gates ass like microchip list.
Yeah, also like call your therapist immediately.
Yeah. Also, it sounds like you're emotionally vulnerable. Maybe you need a guy to talk to.
Yeah, call Brace immediately.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you if you cried.
You should come to his house.
Yeah, come to my house. Well, just keep it, baby.
We're just gonna keep you know what? This is a weird episode.
Call me White Aziz.
She goes on, I really felt the weight of history, the weight of expectation, the thousands of girls and young women who showed up to my events and they'd be wearing the nasty woman t-shirts.
Your husband's famous for being a rapist.
I also just never understood the nasty woman thing. It's like, I don't want to be called that.
No.
Why would you be like, yeah, I'm...
Remember when Trump said he
I'm
schlonged her?
disgusting.
She got schlonged? Remember
that
he
was
said she
great.
got schlonged?
And then he was like,
People-
that just means anything you want it to mean. That doesn't mean what you say.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what?
Incredible.
But yeah, I never understood that. It's like, no. Why would you wear a shirt that's like, yeah, I'm horrible and everyone hates me? Terrible. Anyway, this is what she said on Kamala Harris winning, which, you know, the historic victory of Kamala Harris. It made me feel really, really good.
That's also crazy. That's a quote from Willie Brown, a famous
Oh my
San Francisco
God.
gangster, about getting a little bit of sloppy top from Kamala Harris, who is now the vice president of the United Snakes of America.
Vice President-elect, Brace.
Oh,
There's
whatever.
still time for old Donnie Deals to pull out one of his old tricks.
No, I told young Chauncey to put this thing out in 3 months.
Can you imagine that? She's just like, it made me feel
really-
real
no,
good.
it's-
You
no,
just
it's
like saying
really
that
good.
through her teeth. God, the poor woman. Apparently, she is on the short list for Biden's
Bullshit.
UN ambassador. There's no.
She's not
going
going to be in. She's not going
No
to be.
way.
That would be so. That's like. That's actually like. That would be cruel to her. And I know it's Hillary Clinton, but that would be too mean. I wouldn't feel good about that.
Yeah. We also should mention, even though this doesn't really have anything to do with Hillary, that, I mean, it kind of does, because Neera Tanden, who is basically like Hillary Clinton's, I don't know, like cheerleader, like, I think that woman has at least 10 to 15 alt accounts that
Yeah.
like, just go after anyone that says anything negative about Hillary Clinton.
She's like a Goebbels to Hillary's Hitler.
She's going to be Biden's head of OMB, which is the Office of Management and Budget.
I'll be honest. I'm not going to pretend to know what that is.
Yeah, it's okay. But I think it's so funny. There's a couple things that are funny about this. One, it's funny that anyone is like mad or like confused about why this would happen. It's like,
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of people being like, oh, I can't believe you're nominating Neera Tanden. It's like, dude, it's Joe Biden. What do you think it's
Neera
gonna happen?
Tanden probably has better politics than Joe Biden.
I mean, I think Joe Biden might be dead.
You think so?
I don't know. He fell, right?
You mean the plan worked? Yeah. Anybody who's if you're at the age where if you take a fall that like seriously affects your life, you're
Yeah.
fucked.
Didn't he like hurt his ankle or something?
Yeah, he was playing with his dog. He's probably trying to
Don't
get it to
believe it.
mount.
Absolutely
sorry.
not.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
probably
I mean,
fell down
no.
the stairs.
He's like, oh,
Here's my question, because actually I don't care
life
about.
alert.
I don't want to talk about Neera Tanden. Who cares? Everyone knows she sucks ass.
Yeah.
Don't care. Who cares? Do you think? Okay, so Joe Biden. Just real quick before we end this episode because we're going long. If he were to die,
Yeah,
how long do you think they would keep up that he was still alive?
3 days. Absolutely, at least 3 days.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, what about if you fell and was like basically like incapacitated or brain dead?
2 weeks.
These are
We
good
get, like, a-
answers, Brace. Those make sense to me.
I've thought about this a lot because of the stuff I've been trying to do, and it's like absolutely like it would be a second. I mean, it's gonna happen. I think he could die.
I think that Dr. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris battle for the office.
Oh yeah, because you know what? If you die and you have a wife, your wife should get your job.
Well, get this. So this is my idea. So, okay.
Yeah.
So if I was writing this season, it would be that Dr. Joe Biden is like, okay, let's keep my president husband. I can't talk. I'm getting loopy. Let's keep my president husband in the coma, in the medical coma, because that means that I can, behind the scenes, assume the presidency.
Make the decisions. Okay, so
Because we're
like a
keeping it under
Serena kind of
wraps.
thing.
Now we've got Kamala, who's like, nah, bitch, I'm in line.
I'm the vice president.
I'm the vice. I'm Lady Vice.
VP.
But in order for her to get the presidency and get Dr. Jill out of there, they gotta cut the cord with old
Jill's
Joey.
like, But Jill's like, you may be VP, but I'm the VIP, and I call the shots around here.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we got a little, little cat fight.
Yeah, it would be crazy if Joe Biden got written out of this season because he got Me Too'd by like a 14-year-old boy. And he fled to England. Well, let's hope no one listened to the last maybe 35, 40 minutes of that episode, because we'll be getting a lot of angry messages.
Do we say a bunch of shit?
It's fine.
I feel like young Chomsky usually cuts everything out. Just kidding. We don't cut anything out. We say it all here. This is, no holds barred here on TrueAnon.
Even the one time Liz said...
Very funny. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, I don't cut shit. Only thing I cut is fucking foreskins at the bris, bitch. I'm snipping and snapping.
What?
I'm chomping and chimping. I'm eating your fucking shit and spitting it out. Fuck you.
Wow, we get weird when we just go on.
I drank a lot.
Do people like this when we just talk?
But you know what?
I don't know.
Who knows? I can't tell. I can never figure out what's going on with the listeners.
You know what? I'd like to hear from the listeners, but I'd like to hear from them.
Absolutely. Here, I have a phone number you can call. It is 216-710-0050. Call that number and tell them your opinion on TrueAnon, the podcast.
With that, I'm Liz.
My name is Brace Belden. Now we are joined by producer Young Chomsky, and the podcast is called... You thought I was going to do a little goof there, but no, the podcast is called TrueAnon.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
That's what you want.